What is up, CTC family? Chase That Coin here, and in today's episode we want to quickly look at the BTC chart just to see how our prediction from June 20th played out, and then we want to take a look at an article from Coindesk.com entitled "Who's in Charge of the Tezos Network?" Roughly, that's what it's titled. And then we want to look at delegation services, what you should be looking for when choosing a delegation service. We're going to also look at the process of selecting and setting a delegation service using the Galleon wallet. So let's get right into it, guys. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come over here to coinmarketcap.com. Okay, the total cryptocurrency market cap is at $278 billion. Over the week, we briefly touched 300 billion in Bitcoin's previous rally. And now we're starting to slow down a little bit, which is normal. If at the top 20 cryptocurrencies, the only cryptocurrency that is still up right now in USD value is VeChain. But VeChain lost its 18th spot to Tezos and then lost its 18th spot to Binance. So it looks like it's trying to regain some of its lost grounds. If we come over here to tradingview.com, okay, and just to quickly look at our prediction, which started on this arrow right here. Okay, so after we got this bearish signal, after we got this bearish candle on low volume, after breaking a critical level of support, I called for a bullish reversal. We started to get that bullish reversal, and the area that I called for the market to pull back into was the upward trending line that was formed back in February and that was solidified in March. All right, so this isn't a new trend line. This trend line dates back a few months, starting the beginning of 2018. All right, so I called for a push up into the 7,200 area. All right now we're at about 73.67. And right now we are respecting that trending line, which indicates that we can follow up with the second half of the prediction, which was to push back down and retest anywhere between 5,000 and 5,800. The lower 5,000, since we've received so much good news regarding BTC, I'm not going to rule that out, but I'm going to lean more towards, if we do pull back, it's going to be towards 5,800 or back to retest 6,255. All right. Now we're going to come over here to Twitter. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Chase That Coin. And this is in a Coindesk article that Meltem, those of you who aren't familiar with her, she is a very influential female within the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Blockchain is whatever. Within the cryptocurrency space, right? And I am very, very excited when I see influential women within the blockchain space, because there aren't a lot of women, and it's always cool to see a woman who you can learn something from about the space, no matter how long you've been in the space. All right, so Meltem is very cool. Go and follow me, and then follow her, or go and follow her and then follow me on Twitter. All right, at melt_dem, and mine is at Chase That Coin. And she says, it's great to see a new experiment in delegated proof of stake, DPoS, come to market. All right, so let's check out this article from Coindesk. I'm not going to read the whole thing because this is literally my third time doing this video, simply because I keep pressing hotkeys that I forget are hotkeys, and it's messing up the recording. So I kind of want to nail it this time. So who's in control of Tezos? That answer is about to change. This is an article from Coindesk, okay, from July 21st. I'm not going to read the whole article. I encourage you to come over there and read it for yourself, but I'm going to highlight some things that I thought were important. It says, to me, it kind of feels similar to the beginning of Ethereum. Andrew Polchek, founder of Happy Tezos, isn't the only one excited about the upcoming milestones in the life of Tezos, a blockchain network that launched 3 weeks ago after a series of long, painful delays. Okay. Like EOS, the Tezos network reaches consensus about the state of the blockchain using delegated proof of stake rather than proof of work familiar to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Instead of crunching through hashes to find new blocks of transactions, as in mining, the process is kind of randomized voting system known as validating, or in Tezos bread themed jargon, baking. All right. So when you hear anybody talking about baking, that's what they're talking about. Okay. So it says, unlike EOS, however, validators are not chosen through elections. So if you're an EOS holder, you're familiar with the process. Those of you who aren't, all right, there are different types of delegated proof of stake. Tezos uses a whole different type. All right, the model is just different. All right, EOS uses 21 block producers. So those block producers can be changed through voting, even though, you know, some people say it's a plutocracy. So it's hard for the smaller holders who probably aren't happy with some of the block producers to get those block producers out, because those block producers have money and they can simply buy more EOS and keep themselves there. Right. So in EOS, you're voting for basically the miners. So similar to the Bitcoin system, Bitmain and BitClub Network and Ant Pool, those are the miners. So if we were going to use Bitcoin as an example, compare it to EOS, let's say if Bitcoin holders could vote, but they could vote for whether they want Jihan Wu, Bitmain to be the top, you know, one of the miners, or they want BitClub Network or whatever. So, but the problem there is the miners or the block producers and the average holder, their incentives are not always lined up. And that goes to, and we can see an example of that through the RAM issue that EOS had. The best thing for possibly, well, what people are thinking, the best thing right now would be is to, you know, cater towards the average user and do something to regulate the RAM so that users don't have to pay $25 to just get a name for their account, you know, or $30 or whatever it is now. But it's in the benefit of the block producers to keep that RAM price up and to slowly, very slowly fix it. So, you know, so our goals, the holder and the miner's goals need to be aligned. All right. And in many systems, even in EOS, they are not aligned, and people aren't talking about that. But it says the way Tezos system works, only nodes with a roll of 10,000 Tezos tokens can bake. Now, when you hear that, you might think, wow, I need 10,000 Tezos to receive rewards. No, you need 10,000 Tezos tokens to have your own baker. What is a baker? I'm running a baker on my laptop. I leave my laptop open all day that is running this software, and it is funded with 10,000 tokens. So I have the software running. So let's just use an example of a community developed software from, which is BakeChain. I have BakeChain running on my laptop, which is a light client baker, so I don't have to know command line. I have BakeChain running. I fund my baker with 10,000 tokens. Every time it's my turn to bake, I need to put up collateral, 512 Tezos. Or every time it's my turn to endorse a block, I need to put up 64 Tezos. That's if I want to do that myself. But let's say if I don't want to run any software, I don't want to have my laptop running all day, I can create a smart contract and stake my tokens and give my staking power and give the staking power to a service or somebody who is running the computer within their house or a actual professional delegations system. And let's get into that. So right here we have the newest Tezos wallet, the newest audited Tezos wallet. Tezos has 2 wallets developed by third parties that have been audited and paid for. The audits have been paid for by the Tezos Foundation. So yes, they are third-party wallets, but they have been paid for top of the line auditing from the Tezos Foundation. So this is great. People are kind of funny about third-party things. but this is decentralization at its finest. All right. And that doesn't mean decentralization can't be safe. And as you see, the products have been audited. So when you start a Tezos wallet, you're going to start off with a TZ1 address. All right. This TZ1 address is the normal base Tezos address. All right. So those are normal addresses. When you see smart contracts within Tezos, all right, or smart contracting addresses are going to be KT1. All right. So what I did here was I had 157 tokens. I had 158 tokens in my TZ1 address, and I created a smart contract using add delegate. I copied and pasted the delegate's address that I want to use, the amount of Tezos that I want to delegate to that service. I put in my password, and then I press delegate. When I do that, what it does is it creates a smart contract. It's going to charge you. It's going to cost money to create this address, 0.25 Tezos, which is maybe like a few cents, right? So it's going to maybe like a quarter or something like that. So it's going to cost you a quarter to create this address. After you create this TZ1 address, the funds are going to be put inside of it. As you can see, the funds are now in a KT1 address. They're no longer in my TZ1 address. As you can see, the TZ1 address only has 0.74 BTC in here. And if I wanted to, I could create another KT1 address and delegate to a whole nother system. All right. So let's just quickly look at that. This is tzrate.com. This is a new service, and they are rating the different they are rating the different delegation services. I don't know how they come up with these ratings, especially because they have Tezigator at a 0, which is insane. But they have their reasons, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna get better and different things like that. So I'm not gonna take the ratings to heart right now. But this is just a good place where we can come and see some of the different delegation services. You can also come over to tzscan.io, which is the most popular, in my opinion, block producer. Excuse me, I keep saying, I think about EOS. The most popular block explorer for Tezos. All right, and you can click delegation services, and they're going to give you a list. Every time you click this, it's going to be randomized. So somebody else is going to be at the top. So just because you see just a baker or somebody at the top here doesn't mean it's the top rated. They're not doing ratings here. All right. Yeah. So as you can see, each baker, the baker has a name or whatever. This is just a baker, but they have their own individual baking addresses. So just the baker's address, baker's address is ZTG blah blah blah, right? And they have 80,000. So they have 80,000 Tezos in this address, and this address is running a baker. So this is 80,000 Tezos funded inside of their baker. Now what staking is the amount of Tezos that's being pointed towards them. All right. So this is the amount of Tezos that people put into KT1 addresses and lend to just a baker. Now, when I say lend, it isn't lending, because this is really smart on the behalf of the Tezos team, because it's a smart contract. So as you can see, I created a smart contract and sent the funds to this address, but they never left my wallet. They're still all inside my Galleon wallet. So I am still in control over the Tezos. I'm lending my power to just the baker or whoever else, but I'm not giving them my physical Tezos. So there is no risk of them stealing my Tezos, right? And I don't have to lock it up for a certain amount of time. So yes, I have to keep my tokens in this address, and every 5 days or so, I should receive a reward, or maybe every week, or depending on the service, right? every week I'll receive a reward. But let's say 3 days into the week, something happens and I have to sell my Tezos, so I have to move them, or I'm not feeling safe about this specific wallet and I want to start a new private key, new wallet. I can take them, I can hit send and send them to a different KT1 address or TZ1 address without having, you know, any penalty or anything like that. I just won't receive the bacon reward. But my Tezos aren't locked up, so it's not like I can't move them. They are movable. And there isn't any risk of me losing my Tezos. All right. So when you're selecting one of these guys, what you want to do is you want to make sure the service isn't over delegated. You also want to make sure the service is going to give you Tezos. There are going to be services that are going to tell you that they're going to give you tokens other than Tezos. So Tezos is a coin, but they're going to give you tokens. So you point your staking power towards our Baker, and we're going to give you back our ERC20 token, or we're going to give you back Dogecoin, or we're going to give you back whatever, you know, ERC20 token. If you're into that, then do that. I'm not into that. I want actual Tezos. So make sure the service is going to give you actual Tezos, and make sure the service isn't over delegated. What does that mean? In Tezos, all right, these bakers, the reason you have to fund your baker is because you need to, every time it's your turn to create a block, you need to lock up 512 Tezos so you don't cheat the network. So if you try to cheat the network, you will lose your 512 Tezos. So every time it's your turn to create a block, and if you create that block, you'll receive 16 Tezos, right? Plus the transaction fees, right? But if you try to cheat the network, you'll lose 512. So you're risking 512 to make 16. So there's a huge lopsidedness there. So, you know, it's very risky as far as financially to try to cheat the network. So that's the reason you have to fund your baker, all right? So, but these services can be over delegated. So right now the system, they don't need in the current, well, let's go here so you can get a visual, right? Right now we are currently on cycle 6, all right? We're 84% done with cycle 6. And in cycle 6, up until this cycle, only the foundation is creating blocks. So they have their bakers only creating blocks. If I'm not mistaken, Ryan Jesperson already came out and said any kind of rewards or anything like that they receive, they're not going to keep any rewards. As there isn't going to be a pre-mine. The rewards will be burnt or whatever. So you don't have to worry about them pre-mining and, oh, they've been mining for weeks without anybody else, blah, 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 right? So, but in the next cycle, once we're finished with this cycle, in the next cycle, other bakers are going to be able to bake. So my baker will be able to get a chance to bake. At other people's, you know, everybody, these delegation services will have a chance to bake. Okay. In the 7th cycle, when they first are allowed to bake, they're not going to have to put up 512 Tezos per block. They're only going to have to put up, let's say 100, right? That's not the number, but let's just say it's going to start off at 100. And as the weeks go along, it's going to ramp up until you have to put up 512 every time. So right now the services might have enough because they only need to put up 100, right? But once it's time for them to put up 512 per block, they might not have enough to lock away. All right. So they'll be over delegated. So for example, you want to go to a service that has 10 to 12 times the amount of Tezos that they have. All right. So if they have 500,000, let's just say 500,000, you don't want them to have more than 5 to 6 million, because once they have more than 5 to 6 million people staking their Tezos with them, then anything over that 5 to 6 million, they will have to split the rewards with the same amount of rewards with more people. So let's say they have 100,000 Tezos to split between 1,000 people at this level. Once 1,001 come in, they're going to still have to split that same 100,000 with 1,001 because they don't have any more Tezos to lock up in bonds to create more blocks. So you want to make sure you're not, following this isn't a bandwagon thing. All right. This isn't a bandwagon thing or who's the most popular service, or because if everybody goes with one service, I mean, it's never going to be really centralized because these services don't have the coins. But the service will be over delegated and you won't be getting your maximum amount of Tezos that is deserved to you. So quickly, how do we do this? How do we create a new address? So we select the wallet, whether it be Tezbox, which is a Chrome extension. They do also have a web wallet, which I don't advise you to use. Use the Chrome extension. Select the wallet. Most people are using Tezbox. The Galleon wallet has more of a cold storage feel into it because you can put it on a file, put it in a USB, and take it completely offline. This one would be on your computer in a Chrome extension. Both have been audited. Okay, so with this, you would start off with a TZ1 address, and you need funds in it. You don't have to have 10,000. You could have 5. Okay. You would hit add an address. You would select the service that you're going with. For this example, I chose Tezigator. Copy and paste the baker's address, the baking services address, which is Tezigator's is TZ1 ZEK Y4 blah blah blah. So I copied this. In this wallet, just like a few others, it won't let you right click and press paste. So you can press Control V to paste it there. Paste their address, whether it be my crypto delegate, Tezos community, TZ Bakes, Happy Tez, whatever it is service that you select. Then select how many Tezos you want. So let's say you have 50 Tezos. You can choose to delegate 25 to Tezigator in this contract and then create it, and then you can create another KT1 address doing the same steps and delegate 25 to my crypto delegate if that's what you want to do. Right? When you do that, it's going to take a few seconds. It's going to take maybe like a minute or whatever to show up here, simply because this one is a little bit slower. It's still early for Galleon. It's going to take a few minutes, and then it's going to create you a KT1 address, and the funds will be in there. The funds never leave your wallet. There is no risk of anyone stealing it. All right. This TZ1 address is in control, or is the manager for this KT1 address. So just like in Bitcoin, which uses some Bitcoin wallets use HD, which is higher deterministic, right? So every time you send a transaction to that Bitcoin wallet, it changes the address, but all of those addresses are linked. This is very similar here. So the KT1 is linked directly to your TZ1 address. So the TZ1 address is the manager of this. All right, guys. I hope this helped you all when knowing what to look for. Oh, one more thing is the character of these people, and I'll get into that in another time, in another episode. And that's going to be dependent on how voting rights work, whether it is when whoever you delegate your coins to, they might be able to control your voting rights as well. And if that is the case, then that is going to be something that you're going to have to take into account when choosing a delegation service, and not just their fees and if they're over delegated, but if they're going to vote with the best interests of the Tezos network. We'll save that for another video, but hit like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at ChaseThatCoin. Check out the links in the description below. ChaseThatCoinTrading.com will be back very soon. We are working out a few bugs. And until next time, keep chasing that coin, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.